I'm Kelly Weiss, and I'm the broadcast reporter at the Center for Health Reporting. We're based in California. And you might have seen me here in previous years. I am kind of a regular. I'm here a lot, and I've been asked to talk about my experience as a member with HCJ. It spanned several years now, and I kind of got started in this as a Midwest Health Journalism Fellow. I was based in Kansas City at KCUR, which is the NPR affiliate, and I was just new to the health beat and was pretty excited to get this fellowship. It was a year long, and we got to go to cool places like the CDC and learn things from our esteemed board members about hospital finances and medical studies and nursing homes. So I signed up for this, and while I was in the fellowship, I decided that it was time to take on a 5-part series investigating Missouri's mental health system. Sounds easy, right? I was, 3 years out of college, and I ended up with about more than 2,000 pages of inspection reports that I was combing through because I got a tip from a cop in Kansas City who told me that the state of residential care facilities for people with mental illness, kind of like a boarding home, they were in shambles. People were living in these homes with pools of urine, roach and rat infestations, leaking roofs. This is where they were living. And so I thought I need to look into it. So that's where these 2,000 documents come in. Okay. So did I mention I'm in public radio? We don't really do investigations. And my news director, and I quote, said, "Gee, Kelly, this is a world-beating series that you're going to do. You're going to bust some heads over this. Good luck with that. What's a statement of deficiency? What's a plan of correction?" I said, "I don't know. Charlie told me about it." So anyway, in this fellowship, and we go to a Royals game. It's part of our fellowship. That's cool. We're in a skybox, and it's the middle of the summer. Lynn is there, our executive director here of HCJ. He's just kind of standing there in his shorts, you know, in his tennis shoes, totally casual. And I come up to Lynn, and I say, I'm embarrassed to say this. I say to Lynn, "I've been reading your book, The Investigative Reporter's Handbook, and I'm trying to figure out how to look at these inspection reports." And Lynn sort of looks at me like, "What are you, we're at a baseball game, but, so I'm trying to figure out how to look at these reports." And he says, "Look, you're in this fellowship, I'm going to hook you up with a mentor, okay?" So I got hooked up with somebody in Tulsa who really helped me put these inspection reports in a spreadsheet, which I did not know how to do, and I would not have gotten without HCJ connection. And then I started finding trends of all of these nasty violations, and that was good. And then I came up with somebody who had died in one of these group homes. This was in my area in Kansas City, and she died an awful death. She was someone who's known to be a drug abuser, and she had severe mental illness. And she was not supposed to have any drugs, and that was the job of the group home. But guess what? She took a bunch of them, and she went into cardiac arrest. And she was writhing on the floor, and the staff there refused to resuscitate her and refused to give CPR because they thought she was promiscuous. And they didn't have a CPR mask, and if they resuscitated her, the inspection report, the person said, what did she say? I wrote this down because it was such a quote. She said to the police, "Why put 2 people down?" So the woman died on the floor, covered in fecal matter. Nobody helped her. So I find this, and this is really bad. This is where Charlie comes in. Now I'm on the fellowship, and we're in Columbia, Missouri, where HCJ is based. And I happen, thank the Lord, to see Charlie Ornstein in the breakfast area. Here I am again. It's probably like 8 a.m. I come up to Charlie, and I say, "Hey, I found this woman who died this awful death," and he's sort of not awake and looking at me, and I said, "What do I do now? I've got a dead person, And Charlie sort of says, "Well, how big a problem is it?" I said, "Well, there's one person dead in Kansas City," and he said very wisely, of course, which seems obvious, but again, I had no help, right, in my newsroom. He said, "Okay, you need to put in a records request to the state, and you need to find out how many penalties have been issued for people in these group homes." So I did. Then I find 7 more dead people. in these mental health group homes. And this really strengthened my investigation. So, you know, I went on to find money mismanagement in these homes where, you know, they were skimming off the top and taking these people's small stipends to go on the bus. They were paying the bills. They were taking their tax refunds. It goes on and on. It was a very ugly picture. I went into the isolation cells of the county jails and heard people literally screaming because they had nowhere to put them, because they were so sick, and the psychiatric beds were disappearing at the local hospitals. So anyhow, long story short, I am confident that I could not have done this scope of an investigation 3 years out of college without HCJ, without the members on the board who took an interest in me and connected me with mentors and told me some of the basics that no one in my newsroom knew how to do. And they all thought I was crazy when I had all these records. So, you know, that was a big deal for me. And after I did this investigation, you know, I won a slew of awards. It's been used in training programs for the Missouri Police Academy about crisis intervention teams. It really helped put me on the map for my career. And again, this is thanks to HCJ. You know, I did a lot of work myself, I guess, but at the end, you know, but again, I mean, one other thing, Charlie Ornstein looked over some of my stories where I was accusing group homes of neglect and corruption before they aired, because we didn't even have a lawyer to look over our stuff. So I felt confident after Charlie had looked over these things to make sure that I was, you know, yeah, of course, Charlie, you can do everything, right? So I felt confident about that. And, you know, after I did that, I think that that helped me get a job in California, where I went to the NPR station there, and now I have a great job at the Center for Health Reporting, where I can work on projects and in-depth healthcare news, something that's kind of a dream job, so I'm happy to have that. And, you know, if you're not going to be doing the world-beating investigative series, because we can't always do that, there's simple things, right, about HCJ that are really helpful. Like, does anybody use the listserv? I know some people complain you get so many things in it, but yeah, you can do the listserv and get a tip on a daily source, so you can get your stuff done on deadline, which is good. You can corner Charlie, like I like to do, and ask him things, or Carl Stark here about 990s, and bond prospectuses, which I've done about hospitals, which is a good thing. And, you know, I would have to say, the last thing here, when I was getting ready to speak, I decided to go back to the program and look at how many people are here with financial assistance from HCJ, and it's 106 people are here today. So let's clap for that. Because as I say, I've been here a lot, and a lot of times that I've been here, I've also been on these fellowships that they give out to come to the conferences. So, you know, I'm kind of an HCJ evangelist, so I think everyone else should be too, and I just want to thank the association for all you've done for me. So, thank you, guys. Okay.